What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about a fragrance from the house of Acqua di Parma, and I think this one is pretty promising just based off of what I know about the house so far. I've surveyed a ton of Acqua di Parma, so if you've always been curious about this house and not been sure where to look because you've gotten a lot of information and there's a lot of questions you might have about, which one to buy and which one's the best fit for you, strap up, grab your popcorn because we're going for that ride.
Okay, dinner for two. I watch that head move side to side as I let this in into the room. You are on time, let's connect minds. Trying to get into a mood. We gon' be fine. Close up the blinds, no rush. Finish the food.
All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the afternoon. Today from the house of Acqua di Parma, we have Mirto Di Panarea La Riserva Eau de Parfum. Now, here's what I can tell you so far navigating the house. The biggest issue for you is not going to be scent profile when it comes to picking from this house. The main issue is going to be performance. Which fragrances smell good, but also give you that performance? Because in general, this is one of the best houses that offer things of the clean linen, light floral, citrus, and fruits in a exotic, fresh European way. And so most of them smell really good, but performance does lack because obviously they started off in eau de colognes, then moved to eau de toilettes. And it seems like more recently have moved to eau de parfums. And there's even some tricky verbiage when it comes to, the wordplay of the names Intensa, Colonia, Riserva, and then you have obviously the eau de colognes and stuff. And then you have a lot of people out there touting that a lot of the classic fragrances are the eau de colognes and things like that. So there's a couple different lines and things to navigate, which I'll elaborate on in a later conceptual video in terms of house approach. But outside of that, I think this one is going to be one of the better projecting fragrances just due to it being a blue labeled eau de parfum fragrance. So let's talk about that for today. Mirto Di Panarea La Riserva, unisex fragrance from Acqua di Parma. 3.98, we round that up to a 4 out of 5, only 100 votes, but it is a 2025 release. Let me read you a little something here. Mirto Di Panarea, blah, 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 is an aromatic citrus fragrance that pays tribute to the wild myrtle fruit and the volcanic landscape of Panarea. Developed through a 2-month maceration process, the scent features a fresh opening of blah, blah, blah. Okay, they just go to composition. Okay, let's go straight into the wearing process. I'm going to apply these to skin because that is extremely helpful with this brand. Hit myself with 3 sprays on my wrist, couple on the test strip, and let's get to it. The wrist is going to take a second. Man, I doused that sucker. So 4 out of 5, 100 votes. Very nice, high quality right off the bat. We're not going to deal with a quality issue. The quality is pristine. And the scent profile, I don't want to say juvenile. That's not the right word here. The word is extra glorified Bath & Body Works scent. So this is fruity, citric, floral, slight candied sweetness in the most upscale niche way possible. We're talking rich person's casual in this type of conversation. Truly unisex, I do think it is that, but you kind of have to wrap your head into a different type of conversation when it comes to Acqua di Parma, because a lot of the fragrances that are unisex that lean fruit floral or fruit citric tend to not feel truly unisex. They feel more feminine leaning. That most notable in Fico di Amalfi, which is one of the most popular fragrances from that house. Especially since that particular fragrance has fig in it. It leans more fruity than citric. Some of the more citric-centric fragrances are a little more truly unisex. This does lean feminine, but Leaning feminine is okay in my book. Your boy's drinking his health beverages at night so he can get his sleep, so pardon me. Plus, I'm getting over just my voice being cached. This is very on par, quality, scent profile, and vibe with Fico di Amalfi. It's not the same scent profile at all, but in terms of the weight, the projection, and the vibe, it definitely does lean that way. This is very light floral, pink floral, fruity with a backbone of kind of citrus sour. Feels very European coastal. And I do like it a lot. Very light though. Out of all of the Acqua di Parmas, this one does project good. And especially since a lot of them are very close to skin, this one is at least slightly above average for this house in particular. Let's go ahead and switch screens here. I want to see what's in it. Again, these blue bottles in the Eau de Parfum concentration, I feel have a bigger bang for the buck in terms of performance. Citron, Juniper Berries, Sage, Lavender, Myrtle, obviously, Myrrh, Patchouli, Labdanum, Mastic, or Lentisque. That seems like some sort of synthetic resins and balsams. This doesn't... So what you need to know about this fragrance is it does not feel resinous or even that patchouli at all. Definitely a heavy dose of labdanum, heavy on the lavender and the yuzu, but that is very candied. Not candied like Instant Crush where it's sugary, but candied floral. Almost as if a floral was dipped in sugar water. And you just get this light kind of candied take on the florals that animates the citrus and the aromatics quite a bit. When it dries down, it feels more natural. Initially in the air, it feels more candied than it is. It does dry down to quite a sour citric, riney yuzu, or, yuzu and citron seem very similar, lemons with swag to me. And then it's just hit with a lot of aromatics. Now, those aromatics are not super projecting, but they do change the vibe of this fragrance to feel very natural. There's nothing very herbal. It feels very much lavender, white floral, juniper, sage, the aromatics, but it does feel dominant in this kind of white floral, soft lavender. It doesn't have that medicinal quality or that powdery quality or herbal quality to that lavender. This is very just, again, the smell of a soft purple white floral. And it leans, to me, very much on that citron and labdanum. Again, what you need to know is that this does not smell like patchouli or the myrrh at all. This is completely a natural citrus tart with a lot of basket bouquet, light, airy florals to it. It's very nice. It's easy to wear. It's feminine leaning. This is a rich girl's casual. I do think it's ageless, and I do think that's on both sides of the gender coin. But again, I don't think it can creep anywhere past, rich casual, upscale casual, not upscale in dress, upscale in money. It says moderate performance, and I do think that's true. 4 hours seems reasonable. 6 hours, I don't think so much. Skin scent beyond 4 hours to me, you're going to really have to ramp this up. I'm thinking, honestly, I rarely go above 10 sprays on any of the fragrances I review, but fragrances like this and many from the Acqua di Parma line, and unless it's a black label, like fragrances like Oud and Spice and Zafferano and stuff like that, that we'll talk about later, I really feel like with this house, you don't count. You simply make a wall of mist and you walk in it and you bathe in it. I'm going like 15 sprays. That's what I'm aiming for in my mind. I'm not even counting though. I'm just making sure every bit of the body is covered in this fragrance. And even then, later in the afternoon, if you still want to smell this, you reapply. The opening is truly some of the most special parts about Acqua di Parma as a line. That first 5-10 minutes is usually pretty darn special. And then everything really quiets down. I mean, imagine when you first start the fire and it's blazing, and then you get down towards the middle of the night and you kind of just get embers, a little light crackle of the fire. That's what this fragrance dries down into, is a glorified skin scent. If you're into anything from like Bath and Body Works and you want to smell richer, more unique, this would be an appropriate house, especially due to the price point. I think, many Acqua di Parmas I've come across sealed for around the $60 to $80 mark. They seem to retail even on discounters, somewhere sweet spot between $90 and $150, depending on how new the release is, the concentration and all that stuff. I think they're very appropriately priced. Now, what I do want to caution you on is, unfortunately, Acqua di Parma is a house you cannot blind buy, because even if you get a scent that you love, performance may piss you off. You really want to find the best performing Acqua di Parmas and then, get those, because there's nothing worse than getting a fragrance you want to wear a lot of, but because it's so weak, you can, I've been in situations where even on a 100 ml bottle, if you really love the fragrance and it's light and you're spraying 15 sprays every time you wear it multiple times, you can really burn through the bottle in less than 6 months very easily, especially with a fragrance like this, which is very dumb reach. Yeah, I would blow through this bottle, but it is a very good fragrance, and I think it's one of the higher performing scents. Ladies, you'll love this. Men, get your nose on it. Everybody get your nose on it, because you're going to love it, but you want to blast yourself with this tester, and I'm going to do the same. I'm going to blast myself, empty this entire canister, and just try to see how long it's going to last. Because if a fragrance this good can't last at least 4 hours, I really don't think it's worth its coin. Now, I do have fragrances that, YSL L'Homme, by Killian Straight to Heaven, where these fragrances really don't jump off the skin past 2 to 3 hours, but they're more occasion based. The occasion for this fragrance is anything and everything all day long, casual, upscale, and casual. So for that reason, I do need it to push. I need it to go. Great thing about Acqua di Parmas is you can layer them up. So that's one good quality about it. But if I'm speaking to somebody who plans on wearing this exclusively by itself, I do think getting testers is essential with Acqua di Parma. Later down the road, very soon, I'm going to do a power ranking of Acqua di Parma, not just from a scent profile standpoint, but also do a performance ranking, which fragrances have the best performance that I would recommend, because I think with this house, that is essential. If you buy a fragrance that's either a somewhat okay or just is great or good, but just doesn't perform, I could see people turning off on this house very quickly and leaving, even though they have some of the best fragrances and really in their lane are special to the marketplace. I really think you must have an Acqua di Parma or two in your collection, but if you're turned off by a couple of bad decisions, that ruins it for you. And I've seen it happen time and time again. People try 1 or 2 fragrances from a house and literally act like they've figured the whole house out, and that's a travesty. Anyways, tons of sprays, feminine leaning, rich person's casual and casual, very good price. Alternatives, I don't think Acqua di Parma has alternatives that can punch at the same level as it, though there are a lot of alternatives that you can get to get a kind of rich casual vibe. I think of fragrances like Brioni Eclat. I think of fragrances like Lin Sumi Maforce. There's truly a ton. And then on par with the price point, the world's your oyster. This is very much in the vein of like, your MFK, Aqua Universales, your Gentle Fluidities, your Aqua Media Fortes, but much more Louis Vuitton in style in terms of that exotic citrus fruits and florals type of feel. So this can compete with LV all day long. If you're into the LV style, Imagination, L'Immensité, Lovers, Afternoon Swim, any of those style of fragrances, this is going to be your budget-friendly entrance in, just really being able to have that same feel and vibe and expensive quality while having a fragrance with a little bit more depth and just being more unique, you know, a more European take on that exotic style. So anyways, this was Acqua di Parma's Mirto Di Panarea La Riserva Eau de Parfum from Acqua di Parma. Definitely get your nose on it. Great scent. Man, the test strip is still pushing, but on skin, it's settled quite down. You get virtually a similar transition from test strip to skin. It does feel a little less floral on skin, but it's still an amazing fragrance. Definitely check it out. As a rating, I give it easily an 8. Easily an 8. And I'm not a decimal person, so it could creep into 9 territory, but I do think in evaluating Acqua di Parma, there's going to be a couple more that push in that 9 category for me, maybe even a 10, hopefully, but easily an extremely strong 8. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe, more importantly, turn on that notification bell. Talk to me. I do talk back. I'm going to put some videos up on the screen for you to continue your watching experience, because if you're into fragrance at any level, any price point, beginner or expert, this is where you want to be. This is the Scent Bubble. Hope you guys stay blessed and have a great rest of your day.